Okay, welcome everyone. Let's go straight into the price action. Let's see what Bitcoin has been up to over the last 24 hours. Now we haven't really had any entries thus far. We've kind of done what we'd expect the price to do. The price has done what we expect it to do, but we haven't really had an entry. So as of yesterday's stream, I believe we're around here. Okay, we were looking for a few things around here. We said first things first. As this is a range, an internal range, we're going to see what happens at the range high. And that range high is also our last 15-minute low high. Okay. So we were watching that zone to see if we were potentially going to get a flip in the market structure there for a short trade. This idea number one. Obviously, we had the range low. We also had the external range low, and then we had above us. We had market structure here where we've got perhaps a low, a high, then we've got another low, a high, and then we've got a low. And we were saying this is also a key level. All right. In the case that we are going to rotate all the way up to this guy over here, we're going to have to first of all break above here, and we're going to have to, get past this supply zone. Now, what did price actually do? Well, price came up nicely, giving us a nice, demand chain of high highs and high lows. Price came up quite nicely. It got to our level. It kind of wicked that level. It did wick that level. So some of you might be thinking, TJ, it's wicked a level. Time to get into a trade. Well, what do we have to wait for before we enter a trade? We have to wait for a flip in market structure. So let's see, did we have a trade here? If we simply trace this, let's make this a line, and we're going to have a 2 thickness, and we're going to make it green because we're going up. All right, so this is bullish. If we trace the market structure here, we've got high, 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 low, high, 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 low, high, 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 low, high, 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 low, and then we get the wick. Okay, so what does that mean? That means in order for us to enter this trade here, we must wait, we must be patient, we must wait to see, first of all, this last high low get lost. All right, so this level here becomes the critical region, or the critical sort of line for us to close below in order for us to enter that trade. So now in the case we got something like this where we came and rallied down, rallied lower than that level, had a retracement, that would be in a great position to enter a short from up there with nice risk to reward. Now, if we had obviously not retraced that much, let's say we simply retraced over here, well, I would question whether I want to enter that trade. Why? Because we're kind of already in an equilibrium of our range. All right, and that would kind of hinder or hammer our risk to reward. So we didn't get that. So, no point thinking about that right now. So what did we get instead? Now, instead we created another, high low, and then we rallied up. So let's actually put that back in. High, 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 low. We're going to go all the way up. High, 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 low. And then we have another high, high. All right. Remember what we were saying yesterday? We said we were looking at this range. We're looking at this area in general as an accumulation model where you've got potentially tap 1, 2, 3. You've got a flip in market structure here, which you've had now. You've had that clear, decisive 15-minute flip in market structure. Well, initially we thought that flip might have happened here. No, it wasn't. It was just a wick, hence why we rotated down. And then we had a second attempt, and we've actually, broken structure now on the 15-minute. Okay, so on the 15-minute, we're looking bullish. Now, on the 15-minute, we've created high highs and high lows, bringing us to this level that we are right now. All right, so what has price done? Well, price has carried on rallying up. Okay, but price has done something interesting. Now, ideally, what I would have liked to see on a 15-minute was the price to come up as we planned. We talked about this yesterday. Um, Price to break structure on the 15, all right, giving us this structure here. Price to break structure on the 15, retrace, nice deep retracement for that continuation up. All right, that's what we were planning for. And that could potentially still be in play, although it's looking like price does not want to retrace. It's looking like price wants to go all the way up and just blast through. And if that happens, so be it. So be it. You can't get everything. So let's look at what price has done so far. So price has come up. All right. So we've got more market structure to play with now. So we've got high, low, high, 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 low. And then we've got another high, high. So that's where we are right now. Okay. And then I believe we've got a flip. Yeah, we have. So price has flipped now in structure. Now, if price has, interesting things going on right now, literally right now. So price has flipped in market structure, bearish, okay, giving us this level here, all right, giving us now a lower low with a lower high and a lower low, all right. And that flip in market structure took place right about here, all right. So this is where you have the boss, the big boss, all right, the break of structure. The boss, the boss, the boss. So we're going to get rid of this now. We don't need this anymore because we didn't get that trade, which is fine. We have got that flip. All right. So now the question is, we've started that pullback. We've started that retracement. All right. And it's pulling back quite nicely. What I mean by that is we're getting quite a clear market structure of lower highs and lower lows all the way down here. 1 second. I'm just going to shut the window because that's a bit disruptive. All right, that should be better. So we've had that, we've got kind of nice market structure coming down to our zone, which is what we like. So now we're going to spend some time investigating where we could potentially look to catch that retracement. And funny enough, I think we've actually got a signal right now. We do have a signal right now. I have a feeling this is going to break structure and carry on. All right. Oof. Yeah, I have a feeling this is going to break structure and carry on that. But anyways, we're going to plan, for this trade regardless. If it does come deeper down, all right, or if we are looking to enter right now, we're going to talk about that. Nothing else really changes. All right, this level is still an important level to watch to see what price does when we get there, especially because we have a range forming. In the case we are to rotate up, this is going to make a nice little range, and we're going to look at that level. Now, the level below us. Now, this is less valid now. There's a lower chance that price is going to come and wick this level. It's still possible, but there is a lower chance. Why? Because price has broken structure out of that range. All right. In the case that it does come back to wick down, that means we've got a bigger range. We're going to have a bigger range and a new range essentially, and this would be your new range. Okay, where this is your range low, range high. We come for another tap and then we go up. Okay. So let's just plan for this trade first of all, yeah, because this seems like the most likely trades thus far. It may already be in play. We may get a scenario where this is simply the retracement. All right. So first things first. All right, we're gonna talk about if this is to come all the way down, what would we like to see? Well, what we want to see is as price comes down, if it comes up like this into our zone, we would like to see a flip in market structure again bullishly. Okay, so perhaps on a 5 minute and up, a flip in market structure bullishly with a nice retracement and a continuation up. Now, you know, some people may enter it just on a breaking structure. I won't blame you because I do think if it does flip again, it's going to be an aggressive move. And some people will wait for that retracement for better risk reward. Whichever you want to do, it's completely up to you. Again, it's your money and you decide how you want to trade it. All right, so now where could that reaction take place? Now, that like what I'm saying is that flip could happen at any point. That flip could happen right now over here. That flip could happen here. It could go bang, okay, bang, bang. And if that was the case, well, this would be your break-in structure. This would be your flip. All right, that could happen right now. And the reason that could happen right now is because we've already, if this is our range, if we're saying this was our range, we've kind of started to mitigate that range, haven't we? We've broken up from that range. So if we use this tool, we've broken up from that range. All right. This is the retracement back into the range. Okay, remember RIMC, range, initiation, mitigation, continuation. And then we're going to carry on. So this could potentially be the play already. All right, the retracement. It may not be a deep retracement, is what I'm saying. All right. So now, in the case that this is a deep retracement and it carries on, coming further down, how are we going to look to play this? Well, first things first, I would like to know if there are any zones in there. I would like to trace this market structure up and see are there any remnant zones that price could come back for. I have a feeling it's going to go up here for me. I have a feeling it's going to go up from here and break structure here. All right, but let's take a look. Are there any remnant zones for us to watch as our potential POIs? So I'm going to start on a 3 hour. On the 3 hours, a straight flush up. I'm going to go down to the 2 hour, and the 2 hour. We do have a 2 hour zone. Oh, we've got a few zones. We've got a few zones, all right? Now we do have a few zones. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw this 2 hour zone. Okay, and I'm going to label that a 2 hour zone. Now this is our 2 hour demand zone. And this is I'm going to get rid of this now because we know what we're looking for, right? We know exactly what we're looking for. So there's no point having that there. So I'm going to call this a 2 hour zone. And this is a zone we're potentially looking for a bounce. All right, you see that? Price is coming all the way up. But we'll wait and see. All right, so that's our 2 hour zone. Okay, we haven't quite got to that 2 hour zone yet. Below that, we have another 2 hour zone below here. And if you're wondering how I pick out these zones and what I look out for as far as drawing these demand zones, feel free to hit me up. Hit me up on Discord and we can have a chat. All right. Okay, no. So we've got this 2 hour zone. Let's check the 1 hour. I'm pretty sure we're going to have some zones inside these zones. So we have overlapping zones here. We've got 2 hour zone, but it's also confluent with a 1 hour zone, which is good. All right, let's look at the 45 minute. Yeah, so we've got overlapping zone, but it's within that region. So am I going to say, all right, let's make this zone smaller and smaller and smaller and shrink it all the way to the 1 minute? No, I'm not. Why? Because the higher the zone, the thicker the zone, right? The less risky it is, basically. Yeah, you see, look at that. The higher the probability that you're actually going to, get a flip in that zone. So I'm going to leave it as it is. Now, is this a zone? Well, let me quickly take a look at this. Yes. So again, this is a 24-minute zone. Well, I'm tempted not to draw that wide because it's so close to this zone here, isn't it? 24. Do you know what? I'll draw it regardless. Because so many times I've left zones like that and they end up being the exact zone we get a reaction from. Now, it could be that price doesn't come down to any of these zones. Because these are so thick, right? I might as well just watch the whole area for a flip. Might as well watch the whole area for a flip. But regardless, these are the zones. But we're gonna do it strategically, and we're gonna do it mechanically, and see if we can get to a result in the case that price comes down further. 10 minute. Let's see if we've got any zones in there. No, we've got overlapping zones on the 10 minute as well. Okay, I can see something here. It looks like has that been mitigated already? So that's got 72.1 and a low of 180. 72.180. Okay, so again, we have another zone in there, don't we? We have literally got zones all over the place. All right, we've literally got zones all over the place. All right, so in this scenario, what I'm going to just look for is a flip. As soon as I get that flip, that switches direction, and I'm going to be in. I'm going to give it 1%. Give it 1%. If you want to be on the less risky side, give it a 0.5%, and see where that goes. So this being my zones, let's say this is our major zones. Now I'm going to look at some of these zones and talk about which ones are likely. I'm going to try and put some reinforcement on these zones. See if there are any enhancing factors for each one of these zones. Are there any things I can see that makes me think, oof, this zone might be the one to work. This zone might be the one to work. So first of all, let's start with this 2 hour zone. Well, this 2 hour zone was right at the top of our range, wasn't it? It was kind of the last zone before we broke structure, and it resulted in this massive bullish move up. So we had bull trend bar, bull trend bar, bull trend bar. All right, so very aggressive move up. All right, so it's likely that if we are going to get a reaction, it's going to come off of this zone. Again, we've got another 2 hour zone here, which it did give us a nice reaction, a nice initial move up from this bull trend bar. That was a good solid. What was that? A good solid 1.5% bar on the 2 hour. But then we had a doji there, didn't we? Kind of had that doji, that little range for a bit. And followed by a bear bar, which is fine. But I'm kind of liking this level a bit better because in the case we are going to come for that deep retracement, then I've got to start thinking, are we coming down for these lows? So I do like this 2 hour zone above. This zone is still a good zone. Why? Because we did have that initial aggressive move zone move up, which is a good thing. Now, what else kind of leaps out at me in terms of which of these zones are gonna hold? Well, let's see. Um, why don't we take a look at the volume profile? Let's look at the volume profile for this range. Now we're going to try this a few different ways. First of all, we're going to say, okay, if this is the range low, all right. Okay, so we've got a POC coming in this 2 hour zone below us. Although we do have a value area high coming in at this 2 hour zone above us. All right, so I'm just gonna add that in there so I'm aware of that. So I'm gonna say it's a 2 hour zone plus POC. Okay, and I'm gonna say this guy. I'm gonna add this guy over here. I'm gonna say, well, this is a 2 hour zone plus a value area high. Okay, remember the theory behind POCs and value area highs. They are key sticking points for price or key reaction points. All right. So what else? So that's if we drew that from that low. Now let's say we drew that from this high over here. So let's say if we took out our fixed range tool and we moved it over here. Okay, let's see, that's changed things. Now we've got a POC coming, in here. All right. So regardless, these two zones, it looks like the most probable zones to at least just get that reaction. So we're gonna look at both zones and we're gonna set the alert for both of those zones. Now we're gonna get rid of this because we kind of know what's in play now, don't we? All right. So next thing I'm gonna look at is okay. I'm gonna look at the fixed range tool and I'm gonna say, okay, if this is our low. All right, oof, all the way to this high here. Let's see. This is what we call a bull fixed range tool. Let's see, we've got a POC coming in at that zone still. The POC coming in at that zone still. All right, which is fine. Kind of again, like I said, that zone seemed like the most likely one to get a reaction from, and that's proving to be the case as far as the volume, goes. Now let's pull it from this level. Let's see where it comes in. Again, it's still coming in at that zone. All right, and that's fine. All right, so we're aware of that. Now we're also going to say, well, what's the Fib saying? What's Mr. Fibonacci saying? Mr. Fibonacci has been around since the 13th century. And since then, he has been giving us nice, juicy places to take our trades. And so we're going to say, okay, Mr. Fibonacci, if I take you from the low to the high, all right, and I put on, let's see what the golden ratio is. All right, that's fine. Golden ratio is coming in at this 24 zone, and then we have a 786 level at this zone. Okay. If we were to change that here, okay, similar thing happening. If we change that here, similar. All right, but interestingly, if we take this level, it is coming in at that, at that key level we are looking at as well. So, this is interesting, right? Because a lot of people trade Fibonacci's, a lot of people trade volume profiles, and I know so many people that make millions, literally trading Fibonacci. All right, now Fibonacci works, but you have to understand why it works. Fibonacci works because the price isn't just bouncing off a Fibonacci level because it wants to. Price is bouncing off that Fibonacci level because there's other confluence at that level, and more often than not, it's your supply and demand zones that are playing out at that level. This is why I always say, make sure you understand why price does what it does. And if you do want to understand that, feel free to hit me up. We can have some one-to-one sessions. All right, so that's it. I'm looking at the zones. I'm gonna have my alert there. I'm gonna add another alert here at the 24-minute zone, just in case we get that reaction there. And what I'm looking out for now is this. If we are to get a flip here, I may consider a long. All right. But what I would like to see is perhaps we have one more leg down into this zone. That would be nice. Okay, and then we get a flip in market structure. Okay, and then I would be looking to enter that long on that retracement. Okay, so the flip will take place here. I'll look to enter long on that retracement. Of course, I'll put my stop loss, however. Now, based on that, am I going to put my stop loss all the way down here? Probably not. Why? Because that's not going to be great as far as my risk to reward goes. I'm going to put my stop loss probably below this guy. Okay. that's kind of how I'm looking to play the markets today. We didn't really get. I mean, we don't. We always get trades, right? You always get trades with Bitcoin, but we didn't really get any of our high probability setups that we were looking out for. Of course, you could have entered. You could have caught this. You could have caught this. You could have caught this. Okay. But you kind of have to start, looking at good trades sometimes and saying, you know what, it's fine. I'm going to wait for my level and see what price does at my level. And that's kind of what you start doing as you get more experience in this game. And you realize there's going to be more trades. You might miss a great trade that you've planned. There's going to be another one. There's going to be another one. All right, so it makes sense to just wait for your zones. So that's how I'm looking to play this at the moment. Now, what are the targets for that trade? Well, as soon as we get into that trade, my first target will be up here. I'll take some profit up there. And then I'm going to be looking at this 15-minute level, all right, to see what price does when it gets up there. Why? Because market structure could simply be coming like this. Oops, not that. Oh, curve liquidity. That's definitely something to talk about. Could be doing this low, high. Okay, well, this is, yeah, that's fine. That's a level. Low. All right. So we got high there. We got low. Then we're potentially coming up here. We're breaking structure. But if we tag this zone, that will be an SFP off that zone. All right. So we could potentially get a reaction there, but that could be short-lived. That could just be the retracement for another leg up. All right. So just be careful. Now on a 4 hour, however, if we looked at the 4 hour, let's see what the 4 hour structure is saying. Fairly similar. It's fairly similar. Fairly similar. All right, so let's talk about liquidity now. What's liquidity looking like? Well, as far as our liquidity go, where are our stop losses positioned? Well, we've got a nice trend line developing here, haven't we? We've got a nice little trend line of liquidity up here. That beautiful trend line. We've obviously broken that trend line. All right, we've broken that trend line. So we're going to be looking at this now to see, right, can we actually reclaim this trend line? Yes, we have broken it. I know some people are looking for shorts. Some people could have shorted this all the way down to these zones. That's fine, but we're not looking for that play. We're leaving that pullback play. We're not messing with that because that's a risky area to be playing around with shorts. So we're going to leave that. Remember, we don't really like first entries. We like to wait for that second entry. All right. So that's kind of what I'm looking out for now. Also, in the case that we have a nice little range up here, so if price rallies up a bit further up and we have a range, if we do have a range, I'm going to be looking to short this range. Okay. If we come up here, break structure here, I'm going to be looking to short that for that retracement up off of that zone. All right. That's something I'm going to add onto our potential POIs. All right. So that's kind of what I'm looking out for Bitcoin. If you found this information useful, feel free to hit the follow button if you want to stay in the loop. We are in Tuesday. We didn't really have crazy trades on Monday. That's fine. We've got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Let's see if we can get some nice big winners this week. All it takes is one or two good trades a week, all right? And you're good. All right, so we're going to keep it ticking. Feel free to hit up YouTube, hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button. We're trying to grow this space, and join us on Discord as well. Otherwise, have a great day wherever you are in the world. See you tomorrow.